My name is Alice Lombardo. I'm a teacher in the inner city. Sit down, please. In the inner city in Rochester, New York. This is my 29th year of teaching. So I don't know how long you've been in your career, but I'm sure you've seen changes. And right now, we're at the apex of something has to get done for these kids. Anyway, so this, when I put this together, I am the queen of the smart board. I love interactive programs with kids. If I didn't have my smart board, I don't think I could actually go back to doing any teaching, in the older fashioned way. But this is the story of my experience with the stress relief, the breathing, breath, body, and mind with my kids. And it's also the story of me and how I need to recover from those little energy vampires. Just to set the stage and let you know that I'm not teaching in a privileged area, this is a picture of my school right here. It went under a multi-million-dollar school renovation. There's a medical and dental facility attached, and there are very strong neighborhood advocates. Our neighborhood, however, has the most abandoned and lead-positive properties in the city. We are in the center of the lowest socioeconomic developed area in our city. We have a mobile population, frankly, because if rent isn't paid and they're evicted, or are on the process of being evicted, they move somewhere else. And a very high crime rate. This is the corner, our school sits right over here, and this is the corner where just 2 months ago there was a shooting, and the man passed away. So we're dealing with 760 kids, and they're from pre-K to 8th grade. There's at least 25, that's the average, 25 children in one class, and that's with one teacher. We are at 97% below poverty, so most of the kids get free breakfast and free lunch. We have high levels of lead. My principal at this time has come out of retirement. He was working with the city and health officials to proclaim certain areas, that needed to be lead needed to be removed from those premises and the effect that they have on children. We have a high addiction rate, alcohol and drugs. As a matter of fact, right outside school, you can buy anything you want. We have social and emotional needs for kids. These kids have no idea how to interact with each other. Talk about being disconnected. We have some lack of strong family support because there's so much stress out there that these single parent families are falling apart. We have some lack of value in education. So already the kids are coming back into school with, my mother doesn't care if I do this, so why should I do this? And then, of course, there's all around us visual, drug, and alcohol abuse. If we don't find baggies on the playground, kids smuggle alcohol in tea containers, so we've got to be very careful. As a matter of fact, 7th and 8th graders have to go through with metal detectors and a bag search. However, they give younger kids the contraband, and so once they get into the school, they either get the younger kids locker combinations or come and pick up whatever. So in addition to that, I have 10 to 13-year-olds in one classroom. So I have either no repeaters, or second-time repeaters. There's immaturity and very angry kids. These are kids that go off in a second. We have lots of behavior issues, and we have rival gang members within the same classroom. So there's a lot of gang mentality, gang activity. Nobody's allowed to wear colors or bandanas. Their pants leg up one. We've got that all under control, sort of, yeah. Anyway, so no wonder these kids are on overload. No wonder they can't handle Common Core, anything. Now, one of the things that I've done in my building, I'm hoping you can see this, this is my classroom. This is only one corner of my classroom. Of course, I've got the regular desks and I've got a smartboard in front and shelving and stuff, books and things. But before the kids even walked in, I knew I needed to create a safe and comfortable special space. I almost call it sacred space for these kids so that part of what I do within the classroom and the way that I've decorated and furnished that room, they know that it feels home. It feels like home. And so in my preparation for this, I'm hoping that they respect the environment a little more and feel a little more comfortable taking risks. So anyway, and I have fun doing it too. This couch came from the Goodwill, along with the lamps and everything else. And the fire marshal told me once I have to have it removed because it's a hazard. And I said, well, so are the desks in my room. So are the books in my room. And he went, ugh, and walked away. Win for Alice. Yeah. Every day, I have worked on all of this, in addition to math, science, social studies, reading and writing. So we are low self-esteem, and because we don't believe in ourselves, we lash out at others, because I'm not going to show you my weaknesses. We work on conflict resolution instead of punching, throwing, breaking, threatening, or any other kind of inappropriate behavior. We work on using our words. Tolerance of other cultures. I've Hispanic, African American, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, lots of different cultures within one building. There are a few Muslims in the building, some Jewish kids. So we're kind of like the United Nations, representing all different aspects. I work very hard to build relationships with these kids, and of course you probably do in your practices as well, where you have to get them to be able to trust you, get them to understand that you're not going to hurt them, and get them to open up to you. So we do a lot with positive visualizations, character traits, celebrating all their successes, no matter how little it is. And they also understand that what's fair for one is not necessarily fair for the others. So, and that's a very difficult concept for the kids. So they understand that, student A might have different needs and different levels of ability to meet whatever our classroom expectations are, so that when student A actually 5 out of 10 times responds appropriately to redirection, they get praised, or they get a star, or we have Adams tickets. See, we're Enrico Fermi School, number 17. So we have Adams tickets. He was involved in the development of the atomic bomb, and that's real special. Anyway, so we give these Adams tickets. The kids get these blue tickets for good behavior. It's Positive Behavioral Intervention Systems, PBIS. And then they can use those tickets at the store downstairs, or they can use those tickets to buy a ticket to Seabreeze, our local amusement park. They can buy candy from me on Friday afternoons right before they're going home. And they can also buy computer time and other things, and little fun things too. And the one thing that is probably the most important is that their awareness of self and their awareness of others and the impact that they have on others. They need to begin to understand that. They have no idea when they're sitting at their desk and suddenly their pencil breaks and there's a speaker up in front of the room that's invited, and they just say, "Ah, my pencil's broken!" And that's just that immediate need. So we work on that constantly. And again, it's me and 25. Oh, wait, whoops, before I do that. Come on. Oh, and this, wherever it went, there it is. This takes constant and daily, minute by minute reinforcement, continuously. So when we started with the breathing, and last year my class was not as challenging, and they bought in a little easier. I have to introduce these things after I've established the culture. And so we begin with little baby steps. And I love this poster. This is from the Dalai Lama. If every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within 1 generation. So we start off and we think, well, why do we breathe? Well, miss, we gotta breathe because like we die. Okay, why else do you breathe? I breathe when I think. Okay, so what do you feel like before you breathe or after you breathe? When you're angry, how do you calm down? So all of these things come into play, and then we say, okay, this coherent breathing, let's try it out. Now, I got the big tough guys, the ones who've repeated twice that are bigger than me, and they sit there and go, I ain't doing this. And so all the other kids are looking at them and going, I ain't doing it either. You know, we've got a lot of followers. But as things progress and as I ignore some of that negativity, they kind of buy in a little bit, little by little. And I've actually caught some of the bigger, huskier guys going, and then they open their eyes, they see me, and I'm smiling, and they're like, oh, I ain't doing this. But we go through it. And so we started with the introduction of the 5 beats per minute after we've just breathed, you know, for a while. And so we continue. And we have what we call expanded learning time at our school. 8:45, kids come in, eat breakfast, eat lunch, go through their academic day, their specials, and then at 3:30, they have expanded learning time, which is pretty much a debacle right now. And so when I did Breath, Body, and Mind, I did it as that expanded learning time class, and it reduced my kids to 15. But what the other kids didn't know is they were getting it as well, you know, during the regular school day. Okay. We talk about the brain and its functions. We talk about the brain stem and the fight or flight feelings, and we talk about why we feel out of control sometimes. And a couple of times I've heard kids, you know, hey, miss, she's doing too much. I'm going to go into my fight or flight mode. So at least they're using the vocabulary, and they're actually conceptualizing what I'm trying to get through to them. Okay, so this was actually a slide from the expanded learning time, where I called it Breath, Body, and Mind for the kids, and it's talking about meditation. And if you look, each of these different videos connects to a YouTube. So I'm not gonna show you the video, but I prepare all this days in advance. So you'll see managing stress right there. Anyway, we watched it, and they're about 2-3 minutes. They're not very long, so the kids' attention spans are really focused on that. And what we also do is when we do guided meditation, especially after we've used the video guided meditation, we go into some other CDs, and then we do teacher-led. I take them to a safe place where they can always return. So within themselves, they're recognizing a sanctuary that they can go to. Oh. And so here we have some class posters. These are my sweeties, and we did do a meditation which involved this mermaid person. So they just put her in there, and if you can't probably read the next one. As a matter of fact, they used like this pink marker, so I had to type over it. So stress is a state of mind. Stress is when your state of mind is overwhelmed with problems in their life. Anger can cause stress. Baby can cause stress. Phones can cause stress. This was one group. This is one group of boys. So they're not very, you know, they're not wordy. They get right to the point. Here, this one says that what is stress? It's frustration, mad at yourself, annoying. What causes stress? Well, for a 6th grader, 10 to 13-year-olds, it's your parents yelling. It's your sister crying. It's your baby brother trying to take your stuff. And what does stress look and sound like? Sighing, yelling, sobbing, angry faces, getting out of control, down and sad faces. So they didn't have any problem coming up with what it looks like. They live it day to day. And down here, there was a young man who is, actually we're going to CSE on him. He's got severe emotional difficulties. And at 6th grade, for the first time to go to CSE on a child, it's amazing the evidence that we had to put together. But his mom just had a little baby. And he's like, oh, that thing just cries all night. And so he's got the baby in here, and the baby's crying, and it says, OMG. Oh my God. And then this is the last one. Stress is when you're very upset and don't know what to do about it. What causes stress is when someone is bothering you and it's building inside you, then it explodes out of you. And stress looks like anger. Stress sounds like someone yelling or someone crying. So these kids recognize it, they know, and they live it every day. If it isn't one situation, it's another. So one of the things that I do, and I do this, in our district, we have a set schedule from central office. So at 9 o'clock, I'm supposed to start math. However, sometimes we're not ready for math. We're ready to talk about what patience is, or somebody might have been bullied the day before. We're ready to talk about respect and different aspects of character, tolerance. And each of these, I pulled these from different slides. I would never give this to kids, but we explore these in different ways. Each of these is connected to a video as well. So we talk about it, we discuss it, we talk about our feelings. We have class meetings where we use I statements. You know, I feel angry when you throw my pencil against the wall and it breaks. So it's the taking responsibility for your feeling and then communicating it in an appropriate way. The kids keep journals where they write to me. They write, like, before we talk about empathy, they'll tell me what they think empathy is. And then afterwards, they'll do a post kind of an assessment or what they think it is. And it normally changes. One of the things I work with on them is judgment. So this is a lesson that we actually did. We're talking about this man. You know, where is he from? Would you trust him? How much education do you think he has? What does he do for a living? How does he treat his family? What do you think this man contributes to his community? And so we talk about all these things, and the kids are starting to base their observations on what they see. This is Barack Obama. Of course, he's having a good time, and that's okay. But it's Barack Obama, and they were telling me, oh, he's one of the gang leaders. He, you know what? He don't pay his child support. And so the question comes at the end, can we make judgments based on very little information, like the way someone looks? And I think this resonates with the kids. And then I play them Obama's speech on responsibility when I think it was the year he was inaugurated the first time. And he was speaking to a class of high school students. So I play them that, and it works for a little while. You know, they get all hopped up. But again, it's that reinforcement constantly. Within my classroom, I have a poster. This is something that I use with them. It's called the Golden Rule in major world religions. So they pull all of these religions, and they take a look, and they go, wait a second. Every one of these things has something similar called the Golden Rule. Every one of these religions, we talk about how Christianity is not the biggest religion. It doesn't have the most members, and they're just genuinely shocked by that. Anyway, and I do have the head of Buddha in my classroom, and that's where we sit when we do the small meditation groups on the couch. Buddha's looking right down on us. So we do a lot of compare and contrast. This is for tolerance. This is for acceptance. This is for making them able to function in a world community. Along with our breathing, we continue and we talk about how wonderful they are and what we value about in each of them. And again, these are things about bullying. We have a horrid, horrid problem with bullying, especially we're in the third floor. The third floor bathrooms are awful. We've got those bathroom people who hang out there and hide in the stalls and step on the toilet so you can't see their feet. It's kind of freaky, but they wait for kids, and then they'll hustle the kids. They'll take their money. They'll shove them. They'll degrade them. So the kids sometimes come in with that plus whatever they found on the street, plus whatever happened at home, plus, whatever they're dreading. So they come in and we talk about things, and there's different videos that are hooked up here too. So we work on positive self-image. This is from October 2nd, my Breath, Body, and Mind class. We do ragdoll. They love that, but they call it the doll dance. So, and they always ask for, hey, miss, can we do the doll dance? I need the doll dance. I got to do it now. I'm like, okay, let's do. So one of the focuses on the Common Core is to express learning as a learning target. So our learning target, and it's posted in my classroom, is that I can center myself and de-stress using breathing techniques and meditation. So this is more advanced. I've had these kids for 4 weeks now, and this is our agenda. It kind of looks sort of like what we do here, or so continue. When they venture out on their own, some of the most wonderful connections that I've heard them say is, guess what, miss? I meditated with my dad, it should say dad, last night, and he liked it. So what I'm doing is also enabling kids to make connections with their parents, or maybe their cousins, or everybody's related, by the way, in the ghetto. Everybody's brother and cousin and mama and sister and auntie. One of the kids taught his little brother to meditate so he can get over his stress. His little brother's taking his stuff. And then this one was overheard. I overheard this. She seems really stressed out. She should do her breathing. You know who they were talking about? Me. Absolutely. When we center and reflect, we use the guided meditations, from the video to CDs to teacher-led to self-guided. They have gotten to a place where they can walk the path to their sacred spot when they meditate on their own. And I don't make them share at the end what their experiences are, but more times than not, they're ready to tell us, that the little green fairy told them that they need to go home and read chapter 2 because that's going to have a message for them. Now, it's very difficult. It's kind of I'm walking a tenuous line because I'm dealing with the spirituality of the person, the soul of the person. We're feeding the soul. And I haven't been called on it yet. No parent has called me up and said, what do you do with my kid? So I'm just kind of balancing that line. And I figure I've got 29 years in. What are they going to do to me? So we talk about mindfulness. We use some of the videos. And then when we use Respire 1, they love the gongs. But we've used the guided piece from Dr. Brown. And one kid asked me, how come that guy talks so much? This is what we meditate to. This is what I put on my smartboard as I play. If I don't have a CD ready, I put it on Pandora spa music. I also, and I can't remember the name of the person who puts this out, but I have subliminal CDs that I use. One is called Super Learning, which underlying the music, you can't hear it if you're purposefully listening, says, I am capable, I can learn, I can understand this, I have the patience to deal with this. And I also use one that's positive thinking. So at different times, for different reasons, those CDs go on. And I've explained to the kids that some of this is subliminal. And I've shown them subliminal messages within trademarks and things so they understand the concept. And again, haven't gotten in trouble yet. Okay, so when they have realized this particular skill, I've noticed some things that happen, and not all of them, and not all at the same time, because everybody's developing in their own individual way. But the students that use the breath, body, and mind techniques, they use them outside of the classroom. And last year, There was some conflict, of course. I only had 18 kids, though. That was good. And as we walked down the hall, if you accidentally brush against somebody else, there's a problem. I saw one of my biggest bullies. He's a little guy, compacted bully. He was a tiny, small bully. And he was ready to blow. And then I saw him go, and I could tell, he's counting like this in his head. So they're using it, not all the time, but it's there and it's a tool. In the cafeteria, it's crazy in our cafeteria. You get 200 kids jam-packed in there from pre-K through 8th grade, and very little supervision and very little incentive to do the right thing. So yeah, it's just a mess in there. So my guys are able to use this breathing technique to help them get through that 20 minutes. There's a lower incidence of behavioral problems or minimalized behavior. I've got a little one, his name is Simba, and he is a lion. And he's like this. But over the course of the New York State testing, which was awful, Simba's skills are pretty low. He looked at me, because he sits right near me. He looked at me and he's like, that look, like I can't do anymore. And I'm going, and he goes, and he continued to write. Now, what he wrote might not be the best, but at least he felt a little more like it was accessible to him, that he could buy into it and finish like the rest of the kids. We use our words more. Sometimes they're naughty words, but we use words. Our self-image is improved, and so is the vision of self-power empowerment. We can take pride in the things that we can do, and we can recognize the things we can do. We have increased focus and ability to sustain our attention for a much longer time. Now, as emergent leaders, this is my dream for the future. It's happened a little bit. We do a lot of I can statements. Better role models, make better choices, more empathy, more accepting, more confidence, be a positive leader, and know that I can learn and I will succeed. And I've heard kids, this is our mantra. In the mornings, what I do will make a difference. And so students have taught breath, body, and mind techniques. Of course, they're not certified, but any type of breathing is going to help. They've taught to families and friends. They have began to go on the journey of understanding themselves and looking within for that confidence, that power, that resourcefulness. And then they also are teaching younger students breath, body, and mind techniques. I farmed out 2 of my best. These are the kids that are always ready to meditate. I don't have a problem with these guys. And they went down to the kindergarten class, and they actually led the meditations for the kindergartners. Kindergartners know how to center. They know how to sit and center themselves. And so my kids taught them that, and they took them through a guided meditation that they had written. And it was just, it was just like a stretch. It was outside of their comfort zone. So, and when they came back, they shared it with you could see the glow, the appreciation that they had on their faces. And one of the things that I want them to walk away with every day is that they should live joyously and know that what we do with what we have, and that is enough. Of course, I could learn that lesson myself because I keep feeling like I'm not doing enough for these kids. And yet, as it was pointed out to me, I probably am. We deal with failure, and one of the things that we talk about, okay, we didn't make it this time. We made a mistake this time, but is the sky still blue? Do the birds still sing? Is the sun still shining? Are the flowers any less fragrant? No. Okay, so what did you learn from this experience? And the only mistake you can make is not learning from the mistake you've already accomplished or made. We celebrate, and once we talk about how, I don't know, you guys have noticed my butterfly theme. Um, Doing things together is a lot easier than doing it on your own, and supporting each other. We talk about different, again, the different character traits. I celebrate star students. January, it was excellence. You know, the kids who are always doing the right thing. February was most improved in anything, anything. And Sir Simba got himself right up there because he's trying, you know, and March was for empathy and kindness. And they're voted by their peers. Of course, I do have a little bit of control so that not one kid is getting it all the time. Anyway, they all think it ain't so bad after all. Now, this is advice for you guys. I told them I was coming here, and I'll read it to you. Don't yell or treat people any type of way. Now, they thought that perhaps there'd be teachers in the audience, okay? So this is kind of directed toward teachers. And if you're not treating people right, it will backfire. It never hurts to try something new. Don't yell and treat people anyway, or it will come back. Karma. Actually, he said it will come back to kick you in the ass, but I didn't put that on there. One of the most amazing things was that these two youngsters said some things change your life. And they meant it in a very positive way. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't ever be afraid to try something just because you've never done it before. And they're talking about ragdoll. They're talking about coherent breathing. They're talking about meditation. What goes around comes around. Don't treat your friends any type of way. Stay in school. Deja wants you all to stay in school. Treat your peers the way you want to be treated. Again, we're going back to the golden rule. And Deja says, just breathe and everything will be okay. I'm getting a little verklempt. And then finally, the butterfly effect. It's a theory that out of chaos and fractals, and those are mathematical kinds of terms, but that one small change can result in larger differences later. And so the thought is that weeks after a butterfly flaps its wings, the effect can be felt thousands of miles away as a hurricane. So scale your impact. You're doing it. Thanks. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions? Good.